First 100 Years, prize-winning drama written by Gene Holloway and brought to you by Tide, T-I-D-E, Tide, the wash day miracle that gives you the cleanest clothes in town.
Tide's in, dirt out. She wears the cleanest clothes in town, so does her little brother. Their clothes are always washed with Tide. They've got a clever mother. Tide gets clothes cleaner than any soap. Any soap? Yes, any soap. You get the cleanest wash in town with T-I-D-E, Tide.
The cleanest wash in town. Now that is something to sing about. And of all the women who do their wash, you'll have the cleanest wash in town when you use Tide. In the whole history of wash day, there's never been anything like Tide. We've made test after test here in the Tide Home Laundry, washing and rinsing all kinds of clothes. We've proved Tide gets clothes cleaner than any soap of any kind. Tide not only gets out ordinary dirt like this, it actually removes dulling soap film, too. And that wash day miracle made it possible to get your family washed cleaner than it had ever been before. So why don't you try Tide next wash day? You'll find Tide is kind to hands, now milder than ever before, and you'll be so proud of those shining wash prints your children wear, the cleaner shirts and slacks. Yes, get Tide, and you'll really want to sing.
I have the cleanest wash in town, from work clothes right to undies. It sparkles so you simply know that I use Tide on Mondays. Tide gets clothes cleaner than any soap.
Any soap?
Yes, any soap. You get the cleanest wash in town with T-I-D-E, Tide.
T-I-D-E, Tide.
A long day is drawing to a close. The ladies of the Women's Auxiliary for Thayer for Mayor have been canvassing the town for votes. Over at the hospital, George Graham has been lying silently, trying to figure out what Wilson's next move will be against him. At the Martin house, Claire has been trying to still the nameless fears of Graham's daughter, Mary Jane. And there's Frank, getting ready to go home.
Hello, Frank.
Oh, hello, Mort.
Oh, I'm glad I caught you.
Well, you just did. I was going to go home a little early today. I felt a little tired.
Well, I had Connie type up a schedule for you for the rest of the week. Afraid it's going to be kind of a busy one.
Yes. Speech at the Better Business Bureau. Luncheon, Wednesday noon. Open the fashion show at the Women's Club Thursday. Open the fashion show? What's that?
Well, you just say a few words to the ladies and introduce the models.
Oh?
Then you say a few nice things about the gowns they'll be wearing.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Mort. That's going a little too far. I'm not going to get up there in front of a bunch of women and discuss fashions. I'd feel like an idiot. Well, I wouldn't even know a bodice from a peplum. Bodice is the same as a peplum, isn't it?
Well, no, they're at different extremities.
Oh.
Well, Frank, you don't have to worry about things like that. You know how women are. If you make mistakes, they'll just think you're cute. You'll get more votes than ever.
Yes, but you didn't tell me I had to go through anything like this when you asked me to run for office.
Well, that isn't so bad, really, and kind of fun, you know?
Yeah? Well, I'm not going to do it. You can just take me off the list.
Well,
That's
if
all.
you back out now, you're liable to lose a lot of votes, and I've already accepted for you.
You've accepted for me? Well, why didn't you tell me or consult with me before you accepted?
Well, frankly, because your wife told me that was the best way to get you to do it.
Well, do you believe everything my wife says?
Well, she's been handling you a lot longer than I have.
I wish Mary would keep out of my campaign. Wouldn't you know she'd have a hand in something silly like that?
But, Frank, this is going to get you a lot of votes.
A fashion show. Is there no end to the humiliation I have to go through on this campaign? What else is on that list? I didn't believe it. I didn't believe I was reading what I was reading. But I was wrong, wasn't I?
Well, now, you've got to realize that public relations are part of every campaign. Now, things like this are important.
Do you mean to tell me that you expect me to go down to the George Washington kindergarten and judge a baby contest? Because if you expect me to do that, you've got another thing coming. You really have. Boy, you really have. You really have.
Frank, I've got to remind you to save your voice. You're in the middle of a political campaign.
I am not going to judge any baby contest. Now, is that clear? I am not positively, absolutely not going to judge any babies.
Well, that puts us in a very awkward position.
Why does that put us in an awkward position? Why?
I had no idea you'd turn down the mothers of the George Washington kindergarten, so I went ahead and accepted in your behalf.
You accepted on my behalf?
Yes, I'm afraid I did.
Well, then you can just go on out there and decline on my behalf.
But Frank, all those mothers are voters, and there's at least 50 of them.
Yes, and the moment that I choose one baby, I lose the other 49 votes.
Oh, no, you won't. No, the ladies have already agreed to be sporting about it. And then there's the votes of the teachers, too. You want to get elected, don't you?
Not if this is the price of election, no.
Oh, you'll feel better about it, Frank, when you've had time to think about it.
I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to do it.
Well, Mayor Anderson would jump at a chance to get in there. That George Washington kindergarten is right smack in the middle of one of his biggest precincts.
Right in the middle of one of it. But why do you do these things to me? You know I'm losing weight. I'm losing my hair. I'm losing my mind. Is that what you want? A completely shattered candidate?
Oh, it isn't as bad as all that, Frank. You got to be philosophical about these things. Just throw it over your shoulder.
Yeah, sure. Throw it over your shoulder. It's very easy for you to say throw it over your shoulder. You don't have to judge a baby contest or fashion shows. It's very easy for you to say that, isn't it?
Well, no, it isn't. As a matter of fact, I'd rather do it myself and try and get you to do it.
All right. You do it.
But I'm not running for office.
Yes, well, I wish you were.
Oh, I couldn't get elected.
I don't think anybody could get elected with a lot of nonsense like that. Now, what else is on that list? Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, now that's very important.
Judge the Woman's Exchange cake baking contest?
Yes, now you've got to consider the women, Frank. You want to get their votes,
Now, there's
don't
some sense
you?
to a cake
You've
baking
got
contest.
to bear in mind that the most
I won't have any trouble with that.
You won't?
No. If there's a devil's food cake with fudge frosting, that's the winner. That's the only cake that's ever made. You know, my mother used to make a cake like that. How do you judge a cake baking contest?
Oh, you just taste them all. A little bite here, a little bite there.
Oh. How many cakes will be entered?
Oh, I don't know. Not many.
Not many, huh?
Maybe 200.
200?
Well, in bigger cities, sometimes over 1,000 are entered.
But do you expect me to taste 200 cakes?
Just a nibble.
Well, what do you think I've got, a cast-iron stomach?
Well, Frank, you like cake. You said so yourself.
I know, but 200? Good grief. Well, the mayor will be elected before I even get out of there. I'll be a casualty. I'll be out of the fight. A man can't possibly eat 200 cakes in one sitting.
Oh, you can do it, Frank. I have complete confidence in you. Now, I'll tell you what, I'll get myself put on the tasting committee and help you.
You will?
Yes, I will. That's a sacrifice I'm always willing to perform for my candidates. When it comes to sweets, I'm a willing victim. Anybody can experiment on me.
For the rest of the week, I just have nothing but speeches.
Yes, the rest of the week is easy.
Yeah, easy. Well, I guess I better go home and get into training. Now, Mort, no matter what my wife says, don't accept anything from me again without talking to me first. Because I'm not going to be as tractable the next time, I'll tell you that. So don't try to get me in, to rope me into anything like this anymore. Just don't try it, huh?
No, I won't try it again, Frank. No.
Cake baking contest, fashion shows, baby contest. The next thing you know, you'll have me judging a beauty contest.
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, that idea did cross my mind.
It did? Well, try that out on my wife. See if she's so helpful about helping on that. Well, I gotta go. I gotta pick up Chris.
Oh, Frank, I almost forgot to tell you. Your wife said that Chris would be coming home by bus.
Oh, by bus? Oh, I guess he's going to go over and talk to Mrs. Groves.
Mrs.
Mrs. Groves, I realize this is a painful subject, and I'm sorry to have to go into it, but considering the circumstances of your husband's death, I feel that I must.
My husband is dead. All that he was, all that he hoped for, planned for, worked for, gone.
What good does it do to ask questions now? It's too late.
Well, I admit it's too late for him, and I'm sorry, but perhaps it's not too late for some other people. Perhaps there's something you know that would help them.
I don't know what you mean.
Why did your husband kill himself, Mrs. Groves?
My husband was the victim of his own conscience.
Why was his conscience troubled?
Well, he hadn't been well for a long time. He worried about things. His conscience needn't have been troubled, but he was too conscientious. He took other people's guilt for his own. He worried about things he couldn't help.
He killed himself when he knew there was going to be an investigation of the Graham Construction Company in respect to the city council, didn't he?
I don't know.
Oh, what he wrote on his note amounted to that. He thought the council was at fault.
My husband suffered for all of them. He felt that as presiding officer of the council, that, well, he was responsible for...
Had your husband ever made any deal with the Graham Company?
No, of course he hadn't.
Well, then why was he afraid of an investigation?
Oh, he wasn't afraid. He was heartbroken. He saw that everyone in town was blaming the council for making deals with the Graham Company.
Well, did your husband ever tell you why the council kept on giving jobs to the Graham Company after it was apparent that their work was faulty?
No.
But did he ever tell his campaign manager, Mortimer Drake?
I don't know what he told Mr. Drake. You'll have to ask Mr. Drake that.
Did he ever tell you whether anyone had asked him to make these deals with the Graham Company, whether there was some sort of a payoff?
If you have come here to insult my husband or to desecrate his memory, you've come to the wrong house.
I'm not trying to hurt your husband. I'm trying to help. Something's wrong in this town, Mrs. Groves. Don't you see that? Something is terribly wrong. Crane knew something, and he was killed. Graham knew something, but he was shot, and now he's in a hospital, afraid to talk. This whole town is full of fears right now, and everybody is afraid to give voice to their fears. I think your husband died for those same reasons, those same fears.
Oh, no. My husband died because he was brave.
He killed himself, Mrs. Groves. That's not the act of a brave man.
Get out of my house.
All right, Mrs. Groves.
Don't you understand? Don't you see what happens to those who find something out? Don't ask any questions. I don't know anything. Do you hear me? I don't know anything.
Thank you, Mrs. Groves. You've told me all I want to know.
Thank you, Daddy.
Goodness, I can remember when my potato cakes didn't make a hit like that. You see, I used to fry with those ordinary fats, and they often have a taste and smell of their own that can give things a greasy flavor. We just didn't know what we were missing until I changed to pure all-vegetable Crisco. But what a difference from then on. Crisco's sweet and fresh. It brings out the real natural flavors of everything you fry. And light, tender Crisco fried foods are digestible. Doctors say so, too. Honestly, it's really like tasting fried foods for the first time when you stop using ordinary fats and change to pure all-vegetable Crisco for frying.
It's all beginning to add up, and Chris has an answer to one of his many questions. Tomorrow, Mary pours some tears on troubled waters. And what will be the next move of Robert Wilson and Angela Graham? Well, look in tomorrow when the first 100 years is again brought to you by Tide. And remember, Tide So Thrifty goes so far in hardest water, it's a miracle of economy. Get Tide today. The first 100 years is written by Gene Holloway. Casey Allen speaking. This is the CBS Television Network.